Okay, I want to start this video off with the best quote that I've ever found that I think summarizes airmanship. Stay with me here, I got a reason for this. Truly superior pilots are those who use their superior judgment to avoid situations where they might have to use their superior skills. All that's to say, exercising good airmanship should mean you don't find yourself in a position where you have to test your superior skills. And of course, I've got a great example coming up later in this video where I do exactly the opposite, and I find myself completely testing my short field landing skills without meaning to. So we'll get to that later, but this is the lead up. So here I am flying the same airplane that I'm going to test myself in later. Been flying it for a few months at this point, and my buddy in the right seat had just been checked out that morning in it, and then I took it up with him to do some circuits just to get my currency reset. Both my buddy and I mostly fly Cessna 172s with fixed pitch props, so this plane is a lot of fun. It's a lot more to think about with a constant speed prop. It's a low wing Piper Warrior, and it's carbureted, so there's that extra variable, which, you know, when you're dealing with fuel injection most of the time, that's just another thing to think about. So as far as this actual flight goes, I just did a few circuits. I was pretty happy with my performance, and for this one I was going to see how short I could land it.
Alright, so this is good, like this approach. Yep, looking very good.
The distance from the threshold to that first taxiway is just under 1,000 feet.
Great, one-way landing. And you got her stopped. Look at this.
So we're all proud of ourselves, got the airplane landed in less than 1,000 feet. We've mastered it, right? But, you know, it's a winter day, the density altitude is like below sea level, and check out that windsock. That's a solid 15 knot headwind. Okay, so fast forward a few months, it's summer. This is a really hot, muggy, humid July day. It's one of those days where there's just no wind. It's a beautiful day, you just want to sit by the water. Not really a brilliant flying day, but anyway. We took the plane for a little trip. There's a local airport nearby that has a good little restaurant, so I figured I'd fly it one way. We'd stop for lunch, then switch seats, and my buddy'd fly it back. So there really was no wind this day, and the airport we departed from was uncontrolled, and we departed runway 32, and heading into this airport, which is also uncontrolled, we knew they had a runway 32, so we basically figured we'd be landing on the same runway, and 32 at this airport is the long one. That's a 2,500 foot runway. However, as we approached and tuned in the frequency, it became clear that multiple aircraft were using runway 23 for some reason, so that was the active. Now, we had done enough homework to at least know there was a displaced threshold on 23. It was 700 feet displaced, so that made the usable 14. But in my head, I'm thinking, I know I can land this airplane at 1,000 feet. I'm not that concerned about it. But the fact is, I hadn't formally planned to land on 23. We pretty much ruled out 23. Like, why would we choose to land on 23? There's no wind. It's the short runway. It just doesn't make sense. It wasn't part of the plan. So I really didn't do a very good evaluation of the decision to go with it. In reality, you know, who says there has to be an active at an uncontrolled airport? If you choose to use a different runway and you can fit yourself in safely, you know, wait a little bit, come in a bit later after the other aircraft have landed or whatever. And I could have definitely done that. I could have bought myself a minute or two and came in on the longer runway without conflicting with anybody. But I was confident and I wasn't that concerned about it, so I was like, it's not a big deal, I'll just fit in, I'll land on 2-3, whatever.
And Guelph traffic, Oscar Charlie Hotel is turning mid-left downwind, runway 23, Guelph. Okay, so be spring-loaded for an overshoot because it's short runway. Affirmative.
And
If you need an overshoot sooner, it's going to work much better than later, only because of the density altitude.
So it's cool to have a good pilot buddy that flies with you and reminds you of various things and helps out with the decision-making process. But check this out. Here's the page from the CFS. This is the Canadian Airport Directory. Gives you all the details you need to know about the airport. So there's a 730 foot displacement on runway 23 threshold. But check this out. I glanced at all the basic info, but this one I kind of missed. Training runway 0523 prohibited without prior authorization from Transport Canada, which is the same as the FAA in the States. So basically what they're saying is runway 23 is no joke. It's short and it's narrow. And there's a pretty good caution section regarding trees. Basically, there's a lot to think about approaching this airport, and I hadn't formally gone over it because I didn't think I was going to be working on landing on runway 23. And of course, at this point, if you haven't figured it out yet, I obviously hadn't done the performance numbers either because I thought I'd be landing on a runway that definitely was long enough. So check it out. I just ran the numbers before doing this video. Based on the variables today with weather and so on, I required 1,150 feet, and I'm looking at 1,400 usable, which gives me an 18% buffer. Now, if I knew that at this moment as I'm turning final, I probably would have just decided, I don't feel like testing myself today. I'm going to just fly around a little bit and then land on 3-2. To make matters a little worse, I didn't even formally do a short field landing briefing with my buddy or myself. We just sort of went through the process and did it kind of accidentally.
That was 1 notch. That's 2 notches. Going to 74 with 2 notches. At 3,200. And Guelph traffic, Oscar Charlie Hotel is final. Runway 23, full stop, Guelph. Yeah, there's quite a hill there, eh? Yeah, that clump of trees doesn't help. I guess I'm going to go full flaps. If I need that power, I will, because it's a short runway. Yep. That's why I'm going to look at it. Yeah, I got 71 is my speed with full flaps. Okay.
So I guess that was a little bit of a pre-landing briefing, but it should have been more formal about the actual plan to do a short field. But as you can see, there's trees there that we're trying to negotiate, a little bit of a hill that creates an illusion. It's a tough one.
We're definitely a little bit high. Still a little slip.
At this point, it's interesting to note, I did know there was a displaced threshold, but I couldn't see the markings even at this point. So I'm just flying the airplane, trying to get over those obstacles, getting it down. And I ended up touching down about like 50 feet shy of the markings. They're coming up. There's the first chevron, and there's the displaced threshold. So I got it down pretty well, and I did have my speed nailed for the approach, but check it out. I'm using full back pressure for aerodynamic braking, and I'm on the wheel brakes, and I'm still running out of runway fast.
I don't want to brake too hard here. Jeez. Should have been on the brakes sooner, eh? Check that out. Yeah, wow. I was trying to be real gentle on the brakes. Not this runway. And I was doing full back pressure. Yeah. And I feel like I landed with, like, I put it where I wanted to, and it was still close.
So was it a well-executed short field landing? Kinda. Was it good airmanship? Hell no. I should have planned it.
And Guelph traffic, Oscar Charlie Hotel is clear of the active in Guelph.
And as we're taxiing back, you can tell there is definitely a pretty tall bunch of trees there off the threshold and a hill. So you can see why there's a displaced threshold on that one. Anyway, clearly I'm not an instructor. I'm just a private pilot doing my best to try to stay current and make these videos for my own self-analysis purposes. And you know, I don't fly tons, but every time I do fly, I try to learn as much as I can from it. And if I'm helping anybody out, awesome. So for more virtual ride-along flights like this, hit me with a subscribe. Try to make a video at least once a week. Keep on keeping your flight chops sharp, guys.